semi-pro Gridiron Rants. Yours truly, Big Smoothie, Jamie Hankey, Ken Anderson with me as well. I have been absent for a couple weeks because, family and life and all sorts of things happening going on. Anniversary,
All
and
right.
then, of course, 4th of July.
Well, of course, I told everybody you were on assignment. And then by assignment, I meant camping.
Assignment, yeah.
You were on assignment.
Assignment
Sounds
away
official.
assignment away from the world, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So the 4th, yeah. How was your 4th with the camping? And I spent a little time poolside with my buddies, and their families. But how about you? What'd you guys do?
We did the Lake George thing the week before the 4th of July, and then 4th of July we didn't do anything. Like, I mean, what are you gonna do? You're not really supposed to go watch fireworks, and you really didn't have to because I'm sure, as in where you live is where I live is everybody had fireworks to set off, and it was absolutely ridiculous. I'll be honest with you, here it was almost like a war zone sitting on my couch, and then I was listening to the police scanner, the scanner in general, and then I face the city, right? My front porch faces the city, and you just hear, I mean, 3 hours straight. It was ridiculous. So
Yeah,
crazy.
very similar. So I spent time with my buddy down in Saginaw. It's about 45 minutes from me. Like I said, he had a pool party, and we ate and had a couple libations, and then I drove back up here. And first time I was here for the 4th last year, I was in New York with my family
Hmm.
visiting. So went to a neighbor's. We sat in their backyard, and literally our whole entire panoramic view was.
Yeah.
This was
Yep.
miles off. And then in our community, we had a bunch of maybe a dozen people setting stuff off, and then literally the whole panoramic view, like you said, for like 3 hours was boom, 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 and it was all in the
Yep.
background. And obviously, it was dark, so it was kind of cool. But it was miles and miles away, and it was. Oh yeah, so my whole community, we were setting off fireworks, and so it's pretty cool. Kind of felt like a little. I could see where the old Francis Scott Key came in, with bombs bursting in
Yep.
air. So that was pretty
Oh my
cool.
God! Did you just reference the Star Spangled Banner? Oh, my bad. Sorry.
I did. I did. I mean, it was the 4th of July, right? So I had to do a
Here's the
little.
best thing about that. Kenny Talk just said, "Oh, I was up in New York last year with my family on the 4th of July." So you would think that us being friends, that we would have saw each other on every opportunity that you've come home, and I'm just as much to blame as you are on this. That we don't.
You're kind of throwing yourself under the bus here, buddy, because we talked about meeting up,
We did.
and it just didn't happen. So it was kind of.
Yeah.
You're right. It's. Hey, like I told you last time, I drove the 1,550 miles. You could have come the other 50. But hey, it is what it is, But and listen, you're busy doing your thing. I was busy doing my thing. I was also finishing up, moving, grabbing some. I had to grab my home gym set and bring that home. And obviously, I spent time with my daughter and my parents and whatnot. But it just happens, dude. But I
I
plan on
forgive
coming
you.
up
I
before it snows this year. I'd like to come up and spend maybe a month up there. I end up getting a new job. I start Monday actually. So the cool thing about that is I can work anywhere in the country. So
There you go.
if I want to go to New York and do it, no, I'll be back, dude. Just I don't want to be that Thanksgiving time when it always snows every time I come home for Thanksgiving. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to leave early this year. I'm not going to allow that to happen this year.
Let's be so right now. What's the temperature there right now where you're at?
It's supposed to crack 100. Let me check my notes here. It's been 90s for well over 10 days in a row now.
But is it humid down there like it is in New York?
So no, it's really not. And that's tomorrow's supposed to be 100, and I'll be at my buddy's most of the weekend. 100 tomorrow, 98, 100, 102 on Tuesday. So the I'm inland enough to where it's not that humid. Now I lived in Jacksonville for 3 years, dude. That 100 and you're walking through sweat basically. Yeah, that
Yeah.
didn't work for me. But here it's 100, and don't get me wrong, it's hot as hell, but it's not
Right.
like a sticky hot. So it's
Yeah.
a little more bearable for me. That humidity, humidity, man. New York's the same way, especially where we grew up, with the lakes and the rivers, and
Terrible.
so we understand
Terrible.
the humidity part of it. So
And it's
listen,
been
yeah, go ahead.
it's been 90 here for like a week, 2 weeks straight. And
Wow.
at first I can handle it, but the last couple days where it's topped to like 99, 97, I'm like, nah, I can't handle this. I'm too fat for this shit.
And you guys, I'm gonna imagine you got the humidity rocking right now too at
Oh,
100%.
so bad. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's
so bad.
crazy. So, dude, I gotta ask you a question.
Yeah.
What happened to your beard? I noticed
So
there's something a
what
little
had
different.
happened? So you know how when you get that trim job and you're working on the trim because you can't go to the barber because they can't cut your face.
Right.
And usually I get the trim job at the barber, right? He hooks me up. There's nothing like a barber straight razor,
Oh yeah.
ever. You know that. So I was working on a trim, and then I went a little deep, and then it was say la vie at that point. So I
Just
just
couldn't.
cut it off, and gave myself a fresh shave, and good to go.
Now, how long before that monster beard gets back? Will we see it by St. Patty's Day, so you can be a leprechaun, or
It'll be well before that. I'll in probably about a month. I'll get most of it back. We'll be
wow,
good.
wow,
Month,
that's
6 weeks,
that's
give or
pretty.
take.
It's pretty aggressive to be young,
Listen, that's how it is. I mean, what am I gonna do? It's
right?
starting though. I don't know, Ken. You see the grays in there, buddy?
Yeah, I
See
do
the
see one or
grays? Yeah,
four in there. Yeah, that's
those
because
are
you've been
all
hanging out
grays
with
from
me on these
you.
things. Yeah, my grays are.
Those are all from you.
That's right. We won't get into what, but I think it's from some of those rants that you went off on this week on your personal Twitters and
Oh,
your. We won't get into any of that, but woo, you were fired up this week, bro.
I mean, we can get into it real quick. So basically, this is what happened. I posted something that says, "I love America. I love where we've grown up and all those things, and obviously in the world today, and we all know what the hell's going on." And
Right.
I just said, America, listen, we were great. We've had some issues. We came from some issues, whatever. So then somebody decided to post, and she's a young girl, and I don't know her outside of strongman. So if me, like me, we know each other, so we can say things to each other that you're not going to say to other people, right?
Right.
But if I don't know you like that, like we know each other through a sport, strongman, and really don't know each other that well, don't go on people's posts and just post, rhetoric. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? Like
For sure.
that whole woke generation that's going right now. Nah, I'm not down with that. So,
I had a feeling it
so I
was
went a little bit.
somebody. I knew it was somebody in your strong world, and I had a feeling it was somebody younger, just because
Mm-hmm.
you had to kind of explain why you were ranting. And you're
Yeah,
right. I stay off of other people's social. I might hit the like button. I might, but
yeah,
I'm not gonna say my views or my opinions,
yeah.
because no matter what I say, I'm wrong to somebody.
Yep,
So all I care
right.
about is the people that really know me, and that includes the 1,200 acquaintances that I have. A lot of them people know who I
Right.
really am, because I've either coached them, played with them, or worked
Yep.
with them, or grew up with them. So
Mm-hmm.
they get it, so I don't have to. So for some of these people that are fronting and they're social warriors,
Right.
and it gets annoying. But welcome to
Yeah.
2020 and beyond.
It was, and then that's the real first time that that's happened to me. You know what I'm saying? And
Which is
and
shocking
and
because
it's just
you're
one of those
you're a
things.
public figure. It's kind of shocking you haven't
Right.
been poked and prodded a little more, because you've been in the public eye for years.
Yeah.
With your position.
Yeah. I don't put it out there. Like, listen, I'll be honest with you. I hate politics. I think it's a joke.
Right.
Most of it, not all of it. You know what I mean? But I don't need to go in on anything. Like, and I didn't go in on anything. So
Right.
when people start talking about things, my biggest thing is you shouldn't go on people's posts and just post rhetoric, post things, and you'll never hear me talk about something that happened before I was born, right?
Right. Right.
Not my deal. And
Right.
actually, before I was in my 20s, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't know shit. Still don't
Exactly.
know shit.
I still don't know
So
anything.
yeah,
Absolutely.
no, no.
Absolutely. So
So
listen,
that
that
was
was
what
your
happened.
rant. Hey, listen,
That was it.
totally understand. So listen, we got a few sports things to talk about before our guest
Yeah.
gets on here. So let's talk a little baseball. So first, what I find interesting is that we have some big name players who have opted out to play this year due to the corona. Now, one of them is David Price, pitcher
Hmm.
of the Dodgers, who are actually the NL favorite to win the series, or at least get to the series. And then Buster Posey, um, he's a catcher, and he's in some eyes he's the best catcher in the game,
Yeah.
and
I'm
he's
sure
out.
there's gonna be a ton more, you know?
Yeah, and he's out because he just had twins. So I kind of get that.
Right.
David Price a little more confusing to me because he's older, much older. Like he's in the twilight
Yeah.
of his career. He may only have 2 or 3 seasons left. So to skip one of them, and he's not like he's a low paid dude. I mean, he's one. He's earned a pretty big contract over the
Yeah.
years. So to sit that out, Posey's going to miss out on basically just shy of 8 million because of the prorated version of his salary. So that's huge, But let's be honest, he's got twins. I can't say I blame him. It's tough. If I were playing professionally right now, it would be tough because I know that as an athlete, you've got a very small window, and if you're,
Mhm.
I mean, we did it for free, and we knew we had a small window. You're getting paid,
Mhm.
and you have a small window to make generational wealth in that small window. Um, Again, I know money doesn't buy happiness and buy everything, and doesn't always buy health. But there must be other underlying conditions why some of these dudes are definitely opting out because baseball's not even going to have
Well,
fans.
yeah, yeah. Well, if you watch over in the Taiwanese, or is it Taiwanese? Taiwan, I believe that's where it is. They're four or five seats apart, sitting in the stands. But listen, at the end of the day, if somebody doesn't want to play, don't play because minor leagues isn't happening. They're going to
Right,
pull guys up from there that are in the next step, and I'd rather see those guys play. To be quite honest with you, only because to get a shot playing in front of the big leagues to see how good you really are. You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
Um,
Someone's going to emerge, or
Listen,
some ones are going to emerge this year because of this. That
yeah,
some of these dudes
oh
that are
yeah,
going to take their time off might lose
mhm.
their position, so they might not. I mean, again, they're going to keep their lives, right? So you got to kind of. But they could
Well,
go to the store and get
and
it too. They could go to the store and get the
right.
the Rona, So
I mean, it's a wild thought process on giving up that much money. If you just had kids like Buster, I get it. Okay, fine, I totally understand. To be away, I guess for me, when I hear all these people say I'm going to be away from my family for 4 months or whatever it might be, like, okay, but this is your livelihood. You know what I mean? Like you said, you don't have a big window, so and eh, just do what you got to do. Like I don't know. I guess
4 months for
we
eight
sacrifice
million,
how much.
right?
Yeah, we sacrifice. I mean, I could tell you times that I quit jobs just before the summer because my schedule didn't line up to play football. You know
Exactly.
what I mean? And or said screw off to a girlfriend or whatever it is. I miss weddings. I mean, you just miss. That's part of the deal, and that was for free. You know what I
Right.
mean? So, and I
Listen,
understand the
I
whole
regret shutting down the Shock to take a promotion. I
right.
wish I hadn't done that in hindsight, but you know, I think either way, I probably would have
Yeah,
had a regret. I would have said, "Oh, maybe this, maybe that." Either way, but and then
yeah.
so to continue with
It is what it
baseball,
is.
let's just talk Yankees real quick. These dudes are these dudes are opening up the season against the Nationals, 3 games in a row,
Hmm.
and season starts July 23rd, at least for the Yankees. They play Nationals three
Yep.
games, and boom, they're instantly into the Phillies.
Yep.
So they're diving right into the deep end. They're not even hesitating.
I wonder though. I wonder if they're doing all that on purpose because they're close proximity cities.
Yeah,
You
that's
know what I
exactly
mean?
why
So
they're
there's
doing it.
not a whole lot of travel involved there.
Yeah, so
Um,
I told Wolf when he was here that so what baseball's doing is they're playing 40 games inside of your own division. So the AL East will play the AL East for 40 games, right? Everybody plays everybody 10 times.
yep.
And then they're going to play
Yep.
20 games outside their division, but it has to be in the East. So they would play in this case. Obviously, we're
Right.
seeing the Nationals, the Phillies. I assumed the Mets are in there
Yeah.
somewhere. I don't have their full schedule up, but um, so let's assume they play the Mets at some point. And yeah, then they jump into their schedule. Here's the Rays. Yeah, we got the Red. They open their season with the Red Sox as far as in division, and then it's Orioles, Rays. Then back to
Mets and Braves are
they got the
August.
Braves in there too. Yep, and then there's the Mets. So,
Yep.
so yeah, so that's kind of what they're doing. So yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. They're staying local, right? They're staying on that East Coast, that little bubble there. So they're not getting a whole
Yep.
bunch of travel in. So
I got to be honest. I'm excited. 60-game sprint,
Yeah, dude, it's a sprint to
basically,
the finish.
and I think that we're going to see a whole different game of baseball now than we're used
Yeah,
to seeing. And I think you're going to see a lot of these guys. They're going to carry more guys. They're going to have guys ready to go. They may not have a per se triple A, but they're going to have some sort of, maybe in Florida down, where the spring training is. Maybe they have guys down there that are playing every day, some sort of something to keep themselves ready to go. You know
right,
what I mean?
right. So, yeah, it should be interesting. That's what I was saying to Wolf was race to the finish. So let's get into baseball before our guest jumps on, or I'm sorry, football before our guest gets on here. So the big news of the week, obviously, is Patrick Mahomes' $500 million contract. Um,
Big money.
yeah. So number one, it's not really all it's cracked up to be. It's still a huge contract, right? But I am on CBSSports.com, and there's an article by David Sampson who talks about Mahomes' record-breaking deal. Basically, the headline says Sampson, why Patrick Mahomes' contract worth up to $503 million is not as impressive as it first seems. So he breaks down the contract: 10 years with the Chiefs, 503, right, 50.3. Obviously, if you can do the math there. And then he pretty much goes on and says,
Yep.
I will not let the listeners of Nothing Personal, which is his podcast, be led astray by the musings of the crazy media who are trying to have as much hyperbole as possible, all contained within a single full screen graphic. So basically, what he's saying is, it's really a 10-year extension, which is worth approximately 450 million. That's 45 per year. Obviously, again, easy math, and they made it 10 million. The 503 kicks in if, so for example, and he goes on to say, I'll quote him here. He's got a contract for this year and next year. This year's he's around 2 to 3 million. The year after, he's around 25 to 27 million. So his contract stayed the same this year, right? Obviously, he probably got a very sizable signing bonus, but he's
Yep.
his salary cap, the 2 to 3 is the same. 25 to 27 next year. Add those 2 years plus the 10 years at 45 million plus the 25 million he can get by winning the MVP every single year, getting to the Super Bowl every single year, which by the way, not going to happen. Then you get to
No.
503 million. So yeah, he says, so congratulations. That sounds like the biggest contract ever. Oh, another thing that they forgot to mention, not all of this is guaranteed. How can that be? We know why. But what it is guaranteed is he does have a injury clause, which I don't see it in here, but I think it's 145 million. So if he does get a catastrophe injury or catastrophic injury, they can basically buy him out for $145 or $140, something like that. So still not bad. So if he plays 4 years and gets hurt, he's still he's going to make his 40 times 4 and plus another
Yeah, but
140,
how
145.
much how much guaranteed money does he have coming?
The guarantee is 140. So he's
Yeah.
guaranteed.
So
He's only guaranteed a quarter of the contract. So
right.
it's a little bit. So I mean, it's still, dude, it's still huge bucks, right? I mean, it's still
Well, they
ridiculous.
said. I mean, they said when it was incentive based, and there was a whole bunch of incentives in there, and I think people just hear $500 million contract for a
Right.
quarterback, and then they immediately put the Dak end in there, which if I was Jerry Jones, there's no way Dak deserves that kind of money. He hasn't won anything, right?
He's not an MVP and hasn't won a Super
And
Bowl.
I'm not just taking a shot.
No, you're
What's
right.
that?
He's not. He hasn't been a league
So he doesn't.
MVP and he hasn't won a Super Bowl.
Oh, no, and we both know he's not as good as he thinks he is. You know what I mean? But you know that's out. That's all I see now is the Dak thing compared to Mahomes. And Mahomes is a great quarterback. He's ridiculous. You know what I mean? So
Well, there's rumors. There's
who
four.
knows, man? We're gonna see some fun things.
Yeah, there's rumors. There's 4 million at. I'm sorry, 4 years at 35 million a year on the table for Dak, and that he's agreed to it. So that's the rumor. But
Yeah.
all right, so we need to
I
take
mean,
a break real quick.
prove your worth, I guess, right?
No, you're right. Well, yeah. I mean, come on. You're right. the I don't care if you're Stevie Wonder. You can tell looking at the two quarterbacks, they're different animals. Dak is a Dak is a
Yep.
solid player. Any team in this league, other than
Yep.
maybe 4 or 5 teams, could use Dak as a quarterback. That's what makes him a franchise quarterback.
Hmm.
He's not Mahomes, nor will he ever be. He's not Russell Wilson, although some
Right.
people are comparing his maturation process to Russell's. He's not Aaron Rodgers' talent. He's not. So
No. No.
stop. Everyone's like down him. He's not. You're damn right he's not. Neither's
Yeah.
99.9% of the world.
Yeah.
So
Oh
I
my
mean,
God.
this
Right.
dude's got one of 32 starting jobs in the world. All right. And he's proved he can win. Pay the dude. He's not going to make 45 like
Yep.
Mahomes. Pay him his 30s because that's the
No.
going rate.
None of them.
And it is what it is. Shut up and let the kid play
Yep.
ball. Maybe he wins an MVP one year. Maybe he
Yep.
wins one Super Bowl. Time will tell. All right, man. Our guest is about to log in, so let's take a quick break. Hey, folks. Thanks for watching. Please do us a favor. Tackle that subscription bar. Stiff arm the bell. That way you'll get notifications when our new episodes come out.
All right, so check it. Here we are back. We have our guest in now as we continue on with semi-pro Gridiron Rant. Craig James from the Duval Raiders is with us. What's happening, my friend? How are you doing, man?
How are you guys? I'm doing great.
Thanks for joining us, buddy.
Yes, sir.
I see you
Excited.
said that you are in the you're in the man cave right now. So you got a little picture behind you. Look at you set it up nice. I like that.
I am in the man. Hey, this was the perfect moment to sit in my man cave and do this show. So I got my
Yeah, give us a quick tour. Can you move the camera or are you locked down?
Well, I got my laptop. So
Okay.
this is my youth years. I'm trying to set it up where I got every year of my football career.
Nice.
There you go.
Or every level, I must say. So I got my little level, my Pop Warner level. I have my high school wall over here.
Nice.
I don't know if I'm doing it right.
Yeah.
This wall over here is more of I got a little bit of my college stuff. I got to get some more of those pictures, but I'm a Hurricane fan, so I got a big Hurricane poster.
There you go.
And I'm gonna make this my arena wall for my arena years. I got one arena picture up here, so I got to get a few more done. And here's the infamous Raider wall
There you
that
go.
everybody loves with the drawing board up.
There we go.
Even though I can't draw any plays on it, it's too small to draw any plays on it. So it's just for show right now.
There you go. Nothing wrong with that. Nice little tour. Appreciate that. So let's
All right, so let's
go ahead, Jamie.
dig right in. So we're gonna dig right in. Let's take it back. All right, so we've played Pop Warner. And just a quick youth football today is going. It's all over the place, right? You got more leagues than just Pop Warner. You got this, that, and the other thing, man. How do you feel about? I know that my son's played the last couple of years in youth football, had a concussion, so we're like, you know what? Maybe it's time just to back off, and he's really not into it anymore. So, how do you see that where you're at, and how do you feel about the way youth football's going right now?
I think youth football now is, I mean, it's at an all-time high. With all the media and everything, it's almost like, going from high school to college, but in this case, from Pop Warner to high school, because it's
Right.
Somewhat of a recruitment process going on now. I mean, you can see these guys on YouTube, these kids on YouTube, there's so many different leagues, and you're right in your neighborhood, right in your backyard. You can just go, see some kids, and I mean, it's just wide open right now, especially with the big, they call it the big boy league, or the no weight league, where guys that's bigger can play now. Back when I played, if you weren't 100 pounds or 80 pounds, you couldn't play.
Right.
So I mean, now it's wide open.
High school, so I didn't end up playing until high school. So
yeah, so you're one of those guys.
Yeah. So
well, he's not a small fry if you look at him. He's a big fella. So tell us a little bit about your Pop Warner days. If I remember correctly, didn't you win a title?
No, we actually lost in the title game.
Lost in the title game. Okay.
Lost in the title game. We got to the title game down in Orlando, and it's a long story behind this, but I'll make it short for you. We're playing a team called the Palmetto Raiders. Tebow at quarterback. I'm in the backfield. Obviously, they couldn't stop Tebow on the QB power, so we ran it 4 times back to back. We get all the way down to the 1 yard line. We run it. Tebow gets in. Everyone's jumping up, holding their hands. Next thing you know, he's turning around. Guy from the other team's running the other way. So he fumbled on the 1. And that's how we lost the title. It was a 22-16 loss. And I'll never forget that one. That was a tough one.
And yes, folks, that's that Tebow, Mr. Tim Tebow himself. Yeah. Craig James played ball with him growing up. So he's damn. So Tebow had his first championship, and he fumbled it on the 1-inch line.
Well, hey, actually, that was his first year playing quarterback. This was in '99. Wow. This is the
Ooh.
1999 Lakeshore team. So he had never played quarterback in his life. He probably played, 4 or 5 years before that season. And it was always tight end or O-line or something like that.
Right.
And that was his first year at quarterback. So,
It's funny you say that because we were just talking. So our guest on episode 3 was a gentleman who Hanky was actually his center, and Chris Bresnahan, who played tight end and D line as a Pop Warner kid, and then as he grew up, he became a quarterback. He ends up winning a state championship for the same school that Hanky went to. They
No,
both
no, no. He didn't win. He won a sectional
Oh,
championship.
sectional championship. I'm
Let's
sorry.
settle down.
Sorry, I didn't
Settle
mean to
down.
get carried away. Sectional. Dude, I won 2 games in high school. I don't know the difference, right? So he ends up winning a sectional. Then he goes on to UNH, and he has a decent career at UNH, and then he actually spent some time with Patriots in one year in their camp. So that's Tim Tebow, similar story, right? Except, obviously, Tebow wins a Heisman and a national championship, but it's just, and that's what sucks. And what I had said before was, we're lucky that the players like a Tebow didn't quit
right.
because he was too heavy, or he didn't play the position he wanted to play because he was too big. How many players when we grew up got pushed away from the sport because they were too big? Guys like Jamie Hankey over here, I'm sure he was, disheartened that, yeah, I'm a big dude and I can't play ball with my friends. I grew up, we didn't have Pop Warner, so it didn't matter to me. I had to go 4 towns over to play. So we never
Right.
played till I got to middle school. So it really didn't affect me. But guys like him that were, again, you can't blame a dude. I had 2 kids when I was coaching Fulton that were 2 pounds, literally 2 pounds overweight. We had to forfeit a game because they were 2 pounds overweight. We had 14 players. With them, we would have had 16. You need 15 to play. And then the refs walked off, screwed us. The other team said, "I'll give you 30 minutes." And then we at least ended up playing, So to me, that's bullshit, to tell a kid, "Hey, you're 2 pounds overweight, beat it."
Yeah.
So, so anyway, so you played you had some good Pop Warner years. Did they call it Pop Warner down there?
Yeah, they still call it Pop Warner.
Okay, so you had some good
So,
Pop Warner years. And then so kind of go to the next level. So you went, obviously you were a decent high school player with all those friggin' awards and plaques you got on your wall there.
oh yeah. Yeah, well, we're at Lehigh, and they're talking about changing the name of that school now. So,
Oh geez.
uh,
Right.
yeah, don't I
Where,
don't know
where,
why. It's a traditional school. I love the school. I don't want them to change the name, but here we are today with everything that's going on. Uh, you know, but
what's the mascot name then?
it's a general,
Well, that both be gone.
Robert E. Lee Generals.
Ah, okay, all right.
You get it?
Oh
So
my God. Yeah,
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 I'm the same way. I'm like, okay, well, but it is what it is.
yep.
But it's a pretty traditional school. We One of the greatest coaches in Jacksonville, I think, in high school football started at Lee, Corky Rogers, that just passed away a few months ago, and Leroy Butler, Edgar Bennett for the Green Bay Packers. That 90 or that the guy they played on the 90s in that team in the 90s with Brett Favre.
Hmm.
Uh, they came out of Lee. So it's a lot of guys. It's pretty traditional. So they're still going to the playoffs every year. State appearance. We just haven't brought home a state yet. So um, hopefully they get it going this season. They got a pretty good team coming around and
Hmm.
pretty young guys and a few
Well,
key players coming
Jacksonville
back.
football is crazy too, right? Because
It's nuts, man. It's
where we
super
grew
nuts.
up, yeah, where we grew up here, you pretty much go to the school you go to, right? You grew up
Yeah,
in Fulton, you go to Fulton. You grow up in Nedro, you go to Nedro, right? You don't
Yeah,
have a choice, dude. In Jacksonville, you can,
yeah.
you can.
Once they broke down like the whole. When I was in school, it was um, I want to say I'm just going to use this word, districts.
Yep.
So if I'm in this district, I had
yep,
to go to this school.
yep.
Well, now it's not like that.
Right.
I mean, now kids are going all over. You can live over on the side of town that I live on the west side, and you can go to school all the way out beaches. If
Mm-hmm.
you can, as long as you can get there, as long as you can get your
Right.
paperwork in to go to that school,
Right.
you know,
Okay.
and it's a powerhouse school. A lot of guys like to go to these powerhouses. One, for example, Oak Leaf High. That's like the new 6A school in Jacksonville now. Well, they consider it Orange Park, but that's like the powerhouse now. So now you got kids from all over North Side, East Side, South Side, they're all migrating over to Oak Leaf.
Right.
In the next 2 years, Oak Leaf will be the team in Florida. So
Right.
it's crazy here, and you still got to go through down south to even get a title, and a lot of those guys are in Miami.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Faster,
How
faster is
how
fast.
ridiculous is? I mean, I know as I was growing up and SU would always recruit Florida, right? You would get, but you're recruiting those like third and fourth tier guys, not so much the first and second because they're going to the big three schools down there, right?
right.
Which now it's like big 6 or 7 schools. But how ridiculous is high school football in Florida, and it just how things run down there? Obviously, how you were saying in Jacksonville, but just in Florida in general.
Um, well, they usually stay in Florida as far as recruiting, obviously.
Mhm.
Um, but the crazy part about it is, these Big 10, Big 12, these schools are building super. I mean, they're super deep now. So now guys
Yeah.
are like, let's kind of branch out a little bit.
Right.
So now that's why you don't see Florida or Florida State or Miami in the championship every year, because these guys are actually going, to Texas,
Yeah.
California. So who knows in the next 10 years, Indiana might be the top.
Right.
The way
Yeah.
these kids are branching off.
Hmm.
So the recruiting is just so much different from when we were growing up. I mean,
For sure.
it's a whole different ball game now. These guys are these. I mean, I hear about coaches flying in on helicopters. The guy in Georgia, he flew. He's flying in. Nick Saban. These guys are flying in on helicopters to see these kids.
Yeah.
Wow.
When
Wow.
I got recruited by Louisville, Petrino came up in a Ford Focus rental.
Yeah.
So,
Pimping ain't
so
easy. Pimping ain't easy.
you got me. Way to go.
They gave him a budget, and that was his budget. That's what it was.
That's hilarious. Ford Focus. Yeehaw.
so
Nice. All right. So yeah, the other thing obviously is, just as we're having this crazy meeting that we couldn't do 10 years ago, kids are doing what we're doing, right? They're putting every video they can online and praying that somebody sees a ridiculous play that
oh
they go, scratch your head. Okay. That dude can play D1. That dude can play D2. Let's
right.
get him in here. Let's give him a full ride or give him a partial ride. And you're right. There could be a point where who knows? Maybe Indiana's, a great team one year, and then maybe it's freaking Maine. Then maybe it could be
Right.
anywhere. If they
Yeah.
just get lucky enough and get the right recruits off of YouTube and all the other huddle and all that other stuff that they got going on, anything's possible. So,
Oh yeah.
okay, so you'd mentioned you went to Louisville or was recruited by Louisville. Tell us a little about your college career, which is ironic because our last week's previous episode, he went to Louisville for 1 year. He was their tailback, Leroy Collins, and yeah, he left
Okay.
after 1 year. He was their rushing leader, and
Yeah.
um, so tell us
Well,
about your Louisville experience.
well, it was pretty much the same. I did 2 years at Louisville. Signed up to Louisville out of school. I was on the 2007 Orange Bowl team,
Nice.
which I consider one of the greatest college teams ever. People always like look at me crazy when I say that. Well, that team was something special because of, in my opinion, the coaching staff. I
Hmm.
mean, you had a powerhouse coaching staff. You had Bobby Petrino, which is an offensive-minded guy. I think he's one of the greatest offensively. Uh,
Ooh. Okay. Okay. I'm
you
looking
know,
at
I,
the roster right
yeah.
now. Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right.
So you got that team. You got that team, that coach. You got Bobby Petrino. You got Joe Witt was a coach. He ended up going to the they all went to the Falcons after the Orange Bowl season. So
Okay.
after we won the Orange Bowl in 06, 07, we're all sitting. We have a team meeting Sunday night, and so we're all sitting in the meeting room, and everyone's okay, waiting for the coaches to come in, and they come in. And for some reason, I expect them to come in with a lot of energy, super happy that we won, and you know, pumped up about it. And they all came in kind of sad. And so I'm like, okay, we're sitting there, and Bobby Petrino, he says, great season, guys. You guys, you won the Orange Bowl, and we're proud of you. You guys put in a lot of hard work. You only lost one game this season to Rutgers. He's talking to us, kind of mellow, and he said, and just want to let you guys know, me and the coaching staff, we got a tremendous offer, and we're all gonna go to the Atlanta Falcons And
Yep.
so, we're all sitting in there and everyone's looking at each other like, we just built something great.
Right.
I just came to this school. You guys got me here.
Yeah.
What the heck? So, you know, we walk out of the meeting room. They walk out of the meeting room right after that. We walk out, and it's a D1 school. You got cameras and everything else. It's like
Mhm.
I don't know where these cameras and people came from. I don't know if they told them before they told us. But as
Right.
soon as we walk out of this room, is everybody's out here. There's pictures all over. I mean, cameras and cameramen all over the place. So
That's
uh,
crazy.
that was that. So after that season, uh, you had 20 freshmen that left.
Wow.
They recruited a bunch of guys. You had myself that left. I went to Northern Iowa right after
Okay.
that. You got Anthony Allen. He ended up going to Georgia Tech and get drafted by the Baltimore Ravens. He was on the Super Bowl team. Um, I mean, you had a lot of good guys that left. They
Hmm.
say about 20 freshmen. I don't remember, but somewhere around there. So I mean, but you can kind of understand that. You go out your way and you bring these guys in, especially a guy like me. Out of the inner city, come from nothing,
Right.
and you bring me here and you take care of me, and then you leave. I'm lost. I'm not. So I ended up leaving.
That's what's bullshit with college. I think
Yeah,
all of us, I only played 1 year and I went to a, small, it was a D1 school converting to D1 at the
yeah.
time. So I was at Canisius in Buffalo,
Oh,
and it
yeah,
was, it's just, the fact that a coach can say fuck you to their players and I'm leaving,
yeah,
and you just recruited, like you said, 20 freshmen. They trusted
yeah.
in you. I mean, college is all about the recruiting process,
Oh,
right? So if you sold the kid on, I'm going to be here, and I understand it's an NFL job, but there's got to be something that colleges can do where they say, listen, man,
yeah. Right.
I don't even know what the answer is, but it just doesn't seem right because it happens every year. Dudes leave.
Yeah, but now you see a little less of that now, only because I mean, you look at a guy like Saban who went to the NFL and's like, that ain't my game. My
Right,
game's back here. He's
Right.
never going to leave Alabama until they get either can him or he dies. I mean, let's be totally honest with you, right?
Exactly.
He's you
right.
know,
Yeah.
hopefully, and I really do think you're going to see a lot less of that because that
Yeah.
NFL grind is just it's ridiculous. But then you
Yeah.
see, I mean, look at like you could watch the YouTube videos of some of these, $200 million dollar facilities that these guys go
Right,
and get
Right.
built, and who wants to leave that? You know what I
Right.
mean? I mean, I
right.
wouldn't.
And then I tell guys, a lot of guys ask me, hey, hey Craig, why don't you go coach in college? Well, for one, I should have did it right when I got out of college, so I could be a GA and kind of work my way up.
Right.
And for two, I may go to this school and work for them, and then that whole coaching staff may leave that year. Now I'm in a
Mhm.
whole nother state.
Mhm.
Now I got to find another job somewhere else.
Right.
You know, by the next year
Yep.
I may be in
Yep.
Maine. It's hard.
Right. Yeah,
So
yeah, and that's what sucks, the coach life. And the other thing is, and you read up on a lot of stories, is it's a buddies club. If you're not with the right buddy,
oh
you're
yeah,
not getting anywhere. And that's why you see the same coaches getting hired over and over and over. And even
exactly.
Dallas this year, I'm a huge Cowboys fan, but like they brought in like 8 coaches that are all recycled former head coaches.
Yeah,
And they're all buddies. They all worked with each other somewhere along the lines. And I mean, let's be honest. If I ever, not that I ever plan on going pro, but let's say I was a pro coach,
yeah,
Craig, I'd call you. Hanky, I'd call you.
right,
It's your buddies. You,
right,
you go, you call people your buddy, and it's tough for guys like you who
yeah,
don't have a buddy yet to
right,
to get on somebody's side. And unless you're like truly, truly exceptional and have the right opportunity at the right time at the right school,
right,
I mean, it's just tough to get anywhere in coaching, and so
Well,
you're right.
like you said, Craig, if you're not coming as a GA, you know what I mean. It's and as old as some of us are, yeah, we want to coach at that level. How hard is it to get back to that level? I mean, I knew my high school coach. We had guys that got recruited D1, and his main guy, the school that he was at before he came to coach us at Corcoran, he was a Penn State guy. So he
right,
he was trying to get in to coach at Penn State. You know what I mean? But just because you had a guy get recruited there and go there, you know what I mean, and that doesn't mean anything. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Right,
That's a
right.
square deal.
So let's go from, so you played, obviously you were redshirted in Louisville, right? And then you played
Yeah,
1 year, right?
yeah,
And then so after coach left, you went to Northern Iowa, you said.
yep.
And then tell us a little bit about that, your
Uh,
career there and position wise and stuff like that.
well, I went to Northern Iowa. Obviously, we just said that. Played DB, and that was a pretty good team too.
Yeah.
They were pretty good. You know, they recruited me. Actually, it's funny. Scott Frost, the head coach at Nebraska now, was a linebacker coach at Northern Iowa. He came and got me and recruited me. And when
Nice.
I saw him walk in the room, Scott Frost, I was like,
Right.
Scott Frost? What are you coaching at Northern Iowa for? You a Heisman runner up in Nebraska.
Right.
So but that was a selling point. I mean, once I saw him, I said, this is sweet, it's a pretty good school. And
Hmm.
I know nothing about Northern Iowa growing up, from Florida. I didn't even know Iowa existed. So
Right.
never even heard of the state. So it's like, Scott Frost told me, he's like, hey, come here. We talked to you and a few other guys and trying to get you guys to come over. And I was like, hey, I'm in. I don't have anywhere else right now. So
Right.
sure. And it ended up working out pretty good for me. I played 3 years there, and I won 2 conference championships. Uh, we lost to Richmond to get to the big one in 2008. So I never actually got a title. I've always fell short, man. I'm that guy. I'm that guy that never got a title.
I'm that guy too, because I'll be honest with you. I played in Syracuse, played on some same teams Hanky did. Like the
Yeah,
year I left and played in a different city, they win the national championship.
yeah.
I
That's how it
come
always
back and
works.
play, and then I leave and go play in another city. They win the national championship. It's like, so when I leave, teams win. What's that
Yeah,
supposed to?
Well, I mean,
yeah.
let's
So
be honest, you weren't that good anyway.
Yeah, you're right.
yeah.
You're right. That's why I lasted 25 years because I sucked. But but all right. So you did well in college, well enough to now. Were there any NFL dreams, or did you know, hey, I'm not an NFL guy, but there's arena came a call, and how
um.
that?
Well, coming out of college, it was you got to sign these NFLPA papers and do all this stuff. So yeah, of course, that was NFL was my next thought. Something I would do. I wanted to do. We all want to
Mhm.
do that. That's everyone's
Right.
dream. If you play football, it should be anyways. And I got an agent, cover 3 rep. So at that point, coming out of college, everything's going good. But the agency that I signed to, it was a first year agency,
Mm.
a guy named Ryan Earls. And so he was just trying to get his feet wet. He was just grabbing guys. And
Right.
so, I was his first, client, first guy. And, I wasn't this big profile player with it, coming from him. So it's like, yeah, I can sell you the teams, but who am I? He didn't even have an identity himself. So it was kind of a hard process. So, he was like, hey, well, since we're new, what I could do for you is get you to arena.
Hmm.
I say, okay, cool. I can play arena for a year or two, maybe, and see how that goes, and maybe move up, go to Canadian League, and then
Right.
NFL. That was a whole plan of mine, and I was going to stick with that, and so year 2, I'm like, okay, my rookie season was okay. All right,
And what team did you play for in
I
arena?
started off. My first team was the Iowa Barnstormers.
The Barnstormers. All
Yeah, we
right.
went 2-11.
Yeah, ugliest logo ever.
Well, isn't that
Yeah,
the
we
one
got
with like
goggles.
the goggles, right?
We
Yeah,
got goggles on
yep,
the helmet.
yep.
So I mean, a lot of people was thrilled when I said that I played for the Barnstormers because Kurt Warner played for the
I was gonna say Kurt
Barnstormers.
Warner went there. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, and he went to Northern Iowa, so it's kind of like, oh, you went to the same place that Kurt Warner is. Now you know about it because Kurt
Hmm.
Warner played there. When I said it at first, you didn't know about it.
Right.
Right.
Iowa Barnstormers, what's that?
No
Oh, Kurt
idea.
Warner played there. Oh yeah.
Right.
So, um, I did a couple years in arena. It was arena's fun, man. It's 50 yards. It's all passing. You may have a run on the goal line, but for a DB or a receiver,
Yep.
oh man, it is super fun.
And obviously you play both sides of the ball, right?
Well, I only played one side.
We're gonna play one in arena.
Yeah,
Okay.
so you're traveling 25 guys, if that.
All right.
You're not traveling many guys. So I mean, if anybody gets hurt, if the kicker gets hurt, I may kick.
Yep.
It's just that it's like semi-pro.
Right.
So it's but besides that, for a corner or a receiver or a quarterback for sure, throwing for 6,000 yards a season, it's super fun. But
Right.
you know, after that, you're traveling so much and you're only getting paid, 450 a week.
Hmm.
And then by the time I'm 25 years old, I'm like, this ain't paying the bills.
Right.
6 months of
Even
this.
even in
What's that?
Arena One, that's all. Like I know. I mean, I played in what was it, the Continental Football League, and we were getting 250 a week, and you
Yeah.
know, we were fighting to try to find our paychecks because owners were never trying to pay us. But that
Yeah.
was it, huh? That's
Well,
wild. I
when I
was
played for the Barnstormers, our quarterback was Brad Banks. He was the Heisman runner-up for
Hmm.
Iowa, and
Yep.
I know the big talk was, oh yeah, Brad makes 100,000 a year. He signed a 2-year deal for 100 grand. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, to me, I'm thinking I at least got to get 60,
Right.
50. Yeah,
Right.
at least got to get
Right.
for these
Right.
6 months, so I got to at least get. And I get the first check. It's like 450. I'm like, okay, I'm 21. I'm 22. That's cool. I get a little side job. I can live. You're living free in an apartment. You
Yep.
got vouchers to eat. It's pretty cool. But once you get to that, 24, 25, and I'm 450. That 450 still coming. You're like, I'm not
Right.
in the league yet. It's about time to check into that 9 to 5 thing they were talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Right. All right. So you decided to grow up, right? Unfortunately, happens to all of us, right?
yeah,
And you
yeah,
had to leave the game as far as arena's concerned.
yeah.
What was next for you? Go back to
And then
Jacksonville or stay in Iowa?
actually, I moved back. I
Okay.
left. The last team I played for was the Colorado Ice, and I was in Colorado. And just one day, we actually made the playoffs. And the week of practice of the playoffs, that Monday, I woke up and I just was like, something was telling me, like, man, this is over. Just wrap it up. I just didn't
Mhm.
feel it. I didn't feel the game.
Mm-hmm.
I would get excited about the game. I didn't feel that excitement. I
Right.
would hop up for practice, and that day I just couldn't get up. I'm like, so the guys were knocking on my door, and they were like, "Hey, man, you coming to practice?" And I was like, "No, I'm not gonna come." I packed all my stuff up in the car, and I drove to the arena and got my little 450 check and went home. So see
That
ya.
450 got you back to Jacksonville. That's what
That
that
450,
450 did.
all of it. I got back to Jacksonville with $0.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
All right, so
So
you're back in Jacksonville. I'm going to assume at some point you started playing some semi-pro or started coaching semi-pro.
I actually started off coaching Pop Warner.
Okay.
And I took over a team at Lakeshore where I started
You
playing.
say Lakeshore, yep.
Yeah, it was pretty easy for me to get out there, and so I took over what they call a midget team, which is the older guys,
Hmm.
13, 14-year-old guys.
Yep.
Took over that team, and we did pretty good. 7-4 the first season, and I did that for about 2 years, and then one of the kids that played on my team went to a high school called Eaglesview High School here in Jacksonville, and his dad kind of recommended that I apply for that job. So, I applied and they hired me, and that's when I started coaching high school. So I started coaching high school in about 2016, 2017
Nice.
is when I started coaching high school, and so I'm still at that same school, and I kind of coach with Ken here. Kind of
Okay.
branched off a little bit, and
Yeah.
that's when I started my semi-pro. I coached semi-pro for that year in Jacksonville, and ever since then, I just kind of been into the whole semi-pro thing, man. It's hands
S-
on.
Yeah. You know,
So
who you
when
tell?
you were done playing football, you literally were like, I'm good playing. I got nothing left to prove, and I'm gonna move on.
I was done. That's exactly how I felt.
That's
And
why. I mean, it didn't happen for me until I was what 35, 36. Kenny, I think the last year that I played was
Yeah.
2013, where
yeah,
I was like, okay, yeah, you know what I mean. I think the exact same thing, and I've said it before. And I walked in and looked at my buddy Chico. I'm like, yo, it's our last ride. He said, our last ride, man. So,
yeah,
we finished out there and then we were done. But that's
yeah.
why, I mean, at a young age, too, you were just like, nah, I'm good, man.
Well, and he's athletic too. It's not like
Right.
he's his body just shut down on him. Like
Right.
I retired at 38 playing because my body was just like, dude, I was sore 24/7 every day, right? And it was
Yeah.
Ice bath, baby, after every game, dog.
yeah, exactly. I was just like, I can't do this anymore. So so that's what happened with me. But okay, so Craig, like Craig mentioned, him and I coached with Jacksonville, which we had Vi on a couple weeks back.
Yeah,
He's the owner of that, and so Craig got the itch. He
yeah.
was our D coordinator. I was head coach slash OC. So he got the itch, and he went into semi-pro coaching. Now, this is obviously semi-pro Gridiron Rant, so most people that listen to this are semi-pro. But let's talk a little bit about you. You've come from D1 programs. You've come from successful high school programs, and now you're trying to run a team full of adults.
Knuckleheads.
Uh, Knuckleheads is good one.
I
Pains in the asses.
keep throwing the
Um,
names out there.
that's
Keep
right.
saying
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
It's
Keep
a
yeah,
going.
yeah.
and listen, it's an inner city
We know.
team.
We know.
It's an inner city team. So I remember I coached some dudes in Jacksonville where a dude rode his bike to practice every day, and he would ask me for a ride home. And so it's a very difficult level because you do number one, you have guys like Craig who played D1. And some of them, we had some on Jacksonville that thought because they played D1 they were better than everybody else. And more than once, I've looked them in the eye and said, "Bro, I didn't play D1. Guess what? We're in the same spot.
Right,
So what you did has nothing to do with where we are today."
right.
Right. So, and sometimes you got to look at them and say that. So you had the experience of a D1 school and a good D1 school, and you knew people locally. So how are you feeling now that
Uh,
this is going to be your third season
this will be going into my fourth season.
and your fourth season? So how are you feeling going into your fourth season of an owner? And then I know your first year was brutal,
Yeah,
right?
right.
So how you feeling about season four and where you came from and where you're going?
It's a mental grind,
Yeah.
and I never expected it to be a mental grind. I always thought, oh, it's just football. It's nothing much. But being on the other side of it, I think it's a
Hmm.
little tougher than playing
Hmm.
because it's so mental. I mean, like you said, you got so many different personalities. I mean, you're dealing with so many different guys in their situations.
Hmm.
Sometimes you want to, push it aside, like, who cares about what's going on in your household, or who cares about what's going on outside? But you have to.
Right.
You're almost in everyone else's life, so uh, it's mentally challenging. But after you get the flow of it, like you said, my first year it was brutal, and part of that was because of me,
Hmm.
because I didn't expect it to be this way. Being just a defensive coordinator on the team we coached on, Ken, it was, I didn't have to do anything. I got 15 guys that play defense. Defense is you call 3 plays on defense, and it is what it is.
Right.
But being a part of, I mean, being over it all, you have to oversee everything, and then you got guys coming to you about fees,
Hmm.
uniforms, pads. I'm like, how old are you guys?
Right.
You know, but
Yep.
like you said, that first year it was super challenging. We got through it. We ended up being 2-8
Hmm.
the first season, but um, we competed. We really did. We competed every game. I think we may have lost every game that we played in by a touchdown or a point. I mean, we lost our first game of the season 2-0,
Hmm.
so it was a safety.
Who
So
hit the home run?
oh, I couldn't tell you,
Two to two to
but
nothing.
yeah,
Nice
two
little
to nothing,
baseball
right?
score. Yeah, that's
So
to be honest with you, 2-8. Here's the thing I always said, and I tried starting a team in Oswego County because it was kind of halfway between the two places I'd played. And I'm like,
right,
there's a lot of dudes that play ball that go to both, so maybe we can put a team together. The hardest part, honestly, is getting them on the field. Like the
yeah,
uniforms were easy, getting advertisers were easy, getting coaches was easy, getting fields was easy. The hardest part was once we recruited everybody is to get them to practice and get them to believe in practicing. And it ended up just not happening. So that's how I ended up in Syracuse. And
yeah,
so to be 2-8, most people out there going, ha, ha, you went 2-8.
yeah,
Dude, the first season ain't about the record. It's about you got the first whistle of the season and you heard the last whistle of the
yeah,
season.
yeah.
Everything in the middle really doesn't matter. You
Exactly,
know, it really doesn't
exactly.
matter unless you're like a team that, like when I took over Syracuse, they'd already been established, right? So it was a little
Right,
bit easier to come in and expect to win. Where when you take over a team or start a team, really as an owner, you just have to say, "I'm successful if we hear the final whistle."
right, right,
Regardless of score and regardless of record, you did it, and then here we are going 3 seasons later, and you're going to your 4th season. So obviously, each year you've progressed. I know you coach a couple of the dudes that played for me in Jacksonville. You got
Yeah,
Butters there. You've got Rico's there.
yeah,
Um,
McCray.
Cray's still there too. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, of
McCray's
course, Butters is there, right? They're going to be.
there. Yeah, right.
So
That's the package deal.
I called them Thing One and Thing Two. Those two were those two are man.
I call them freaking
Listen,
fracks.
everywhere you go, you have guys that are like that. There was 4 of us here
Yeah.
Yeah.
when we split teams, and we're like, all right, what are we gonna do? Do we stay
So it was
here?
Jamie. It was Jamie and Chico.
Yep.
Yep.
That's
Yep. Chico's. Yep. My
Oh,
buddy
yeah.
Frank and my buddy
Yeah.
Levon actually made the decision. He said, "Guys, I'm gonna go play for the other team,"
yeah,
Mm,
and we're like, "What?"
yeah,
And we're like, "All right, dude, see you, man. Like we're gonna stay here and rock this, But
yep.
yeah.
yeah, there's all. I think they always travel in 2s, 3s, 4s,
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
but there's always a
And
couple,
and
right?
and here, that's how a lot of guys, owners, that's how they build their teams.
Right.
They'll go
Mhm.
after that one guy
Yep.
that's going to bring 10.
Yep.
All right,
Hmm.
we got to get this guy. You don't have to pay a fee. You can have
Nope.
number one. You can do anything you want. Just bring your 10 guys, and we'll be good.
Right.
Do
And
you
so,
find it? Do you find it now that a lot of guys are more like obviously Duval Raiders is the team that you own? That it's about give me a uniform, give me a cool logo, give me a cool name. They could care less about some of the other stuff, but those are the main things.
um, I actually got lucky with that. Well, you always have those guys.
Yeah.
Um, but unfortunately, we've been pretty good on that. We got pretty lucky. Um, what helped us out, moving forward,
Hmm.
in these past 2 seasons, uh, me coaching high school.
Mm,
Now, some of those guys, everyone has that D1 college dream, and then they get to their senior year and it doesn't happen. Where
right.
do I go?
Hmm.
Oh, I played for Coach Craig last year. He owns the Raiders. Oh, I can go get some more film. So
Hmm.
I landed. That's how it's all working out for me now. So this past season, we're beating the crap out of teams.
Nice.
I got a team full of 18, 19-year-olds.
Hmm.
These guys like Ken, 38 out there, they can't run with them.
No.
But
Right.
Nope.
so
Absolutely.
that's how it's going for the Raiders now. Um, and that's a good thing. I started off with a couple older cats, and
Yeah.
uh,
Edie too, right?
yeah, Edie actually coaches.
Yeah. He coaches now, right? He got
Yeah,
hurt,
yeah,
tore
he got hurt
ACL
and
or
hurt his
something.
knee. And
Yeah.
and those guys that you're naming, I grew up with those guys.
Right.
At the when they were at the Spartans, they came over because they knew me. I coached the
Yeah.
year before with the Spartans, and then they said, "Oh, Craig's coaching with the Spartans. We're gonna play for the Spartans." So I get crap all the time about that. Say, "Oh, you took the Spartans players." No, I grew up with these guys my whole life.
Hmm.
That was the only reason they went to the Spartans, because of me.
Dude, the funny thing too about Craig coaching, and him and I kind of got into it the first game, which because he's very animated and he's
Oh yeah.
very player coach. Now I learned to become a player coach, right? Where I kind of let the players do their thing. But the first game, Craig's D returns a pick six. And Craig is up and down the sideline, screaming, yelling, running. I go up to him. I go, dude, you got to settle down. We're gonna get a penalty. He's like, fuck you, man. This is how I do it. I'm just like, dude, you just got to settle down.
Hey, Jamie,
I don't need a
Jamie,
flag.
this story that he's talking about,
Yeah.
I actually ran all the way down the sideline
Like an
and
80-yard run.
dove in the end zone with Rico,
Full
the
sprint.
guy that intercepted.
Oh
Full
yeah.
sprint.
Oh yeah.
You're like the referee that everybody sees in the video on Facebook and Instagram that
That
they
outran
call
everybody. That was Craig.
and the returning, right?
Oh, it's
Yeah.
hilarious. I'm like, dude, you can't do that. We're gonna penalty. He's like, ah, fuck you. I got this. It's like, okay, we'll see what happens. And he's one of those dudes that he's in the middle, he's jumping up with them, he's in the piles with them, and I'm just like, hey, they do it a little
But you
bit
know what?
different down here.
You got to have those guys. I mean, and Kenny, you might have never been that guy. I mean, I was the guy that was just.
I was like the
And it's
quiet
only
leader,
'cause I went to a city high school, and that's that's how we balled. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
how we played. There was always chirping and shit like that. And like Kenny was in a rural area. He doesn't quite understand how
Yeah.
all that is. But
Yeah, that's that or up north ball where he's from.
right?
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Small town up north ball. We did have a band. We had a band. What's your point? Oh, that's
As
funny.
I got older, though, I couldn't do that rah rah shit anymore. I'm like, all
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
Right.
I'm wasting too much
Hey,
energy. I'm not
the
go sit
funny
down.
thing is, I'm super calm now because I have to be,
Right. Well,
Yeah,
it's
and
different,
you know,
right?
right.
I
it's
remember having
different
that
now.
conversation with Pedroza. I was
Yeah,
like, dude, I mean, because Pedroza was uncontrolled, right? I'm just
yeah,
like,
yeah,
dude, you have to chill because he was so excited. Craig's excitement was, hey, it's a big play and it made
Yeah,
sense. Pedroza was excited at the coin toss, dude. He would just be going crazy. And I'm like, you got to relax because you're giving off this feeling of panic. And I'm like,
mhm,
you know me, I'm like calm until a referee pisses me off, right?
right. Oh yeah,
But
I've
but
seen that.
but but then
we've all seen
Pedrosa's
that.
going nuts. I'm like, dude, settle down. But so on. So let's talk a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about 20. Is it going to be 2020 is completely over now, right? For you guys.
Yeah,
So,
due to
so
the COVID.
Corona, yeah, shut it down.
Well,
So what
for our
whole league
league, it's
shut it
over.
down?
Yeah,
Okay.
but you got few other leagues that's still rolling. So
Yeah. So
Are there there's really leagues that are still playing down around you?
yeah, it's crazy. It is
mm,
super crazy. I
Like,
call it clout chasing.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I got to be honest. If I could still play, I might be like, all right, this could be my last year. Well, shit,
well,
Yeah,
I got
that's
to get it
yeah.
in. You know what I
I
mean?
don't know
But
what
no,
I would do as an owner right now. I don't know if I'd be like
no,
I don't know what
yeah.
I would do. I'd be torn. I'd be getting MF'd, I'm
yeah,
sure, by both sides because I wouldn't know what
yeah.
to do. But so what's 2021 look like? Is the league gonna plan on going forward at this point, or they got the brakes on?
Um, we're discussing it. It's We have weekly meetings, or Zoom calls, and we're discussing it. We're still planning as if it's going to continue.
Mhm.
Um, but we never know.
Hmm.
The governor may say, "Hey, everything's shut down for
Yep.
next season, including schools."
Right.
And so, if the schools are closed down, half of the teams won't have fields,
Right.
and that's kind of one of the issues. Uh, this past season, okay, you guys want to continue to play? Yeah, we would love to continue to play, but the schools are shut down, and we can't use the field if you have a
Right.
high school field.
Right.
So
Hmm.
that kind of hindered us. Um, but some of these other leagues, I mean, they were just going and going and going and kept pushing the issue, and it's like, man, slow down. Like, this COVID thing is serious.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm trying not, even now. I'm still kind of like, oh, it's just but deep down, I know it's serious. Like,
Right.
you don't want to take that chance with 50 guys.
Right.
I mean, one or
Well, as the
two
owner,
at
you're
your
in that
job.
position. And as an owner, you're in that position of
The
so
hard part is explaining it to the guys.
it is. You're in a tough
But then,
spot,
but
right?
you have to look
Right,
back at like when we
right.
played. You couldn't explain that kind of shit to us either because we'd have been
No,
like,
I'd be like, fuck you,
no,
I'm
we're trash.
playing. Yeah.
What?
Like,
Yeah.
Give me my
Exactly.
money back. I want my
Yeah.
money back.
Yeah, yeah, that's the first thing you hear, right? I want my money back.
well, it's like one of those things where you're like, you're broken. You know you shouldn't be on the field,
Right.
but you know you're going to be better than that other guy at 75%, and you're
Right,
still trying to get out there. Coach is like, dude, what are you doing? You're like, no,
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
go.
Oh, I can do it. And then you just run out on the field.
right. Yeah,
So,
so it's crazy. And New York is shut down both leagues, but one of the leagues is having like a 18 tournament. So,
They're so dumb. It's just, you get to a point, just let it go. You know what I mean?
right,
Just let it go.
right,
There's no reason to even, none of us are getting paid. NFL is a whole different ball game, but don't put yourself out there, for stupid shit. It's
right.
dumb to me. I don't
Yeah,
understand it.
of
yeah,
course.
absolutely.
Of
Absolutely.
course. So,
Okay, cool. So it's COVID, who knows, to be
who
continued.
knows?
So one thing that I've been saying to most of the guests here is that we're kind of looking into, once we start playing ball again, we might actually uh, travel to a game or two. Now, for your game, I doubt Hanky will join me unless I pay for it. So we may have to figure something out to have him come visit. But I'd like to do a play by
You make them
play, or
dollars, dog. Come on now. Shit. You
Hey,
got
do
the
it the
money.
semi-pro way and carpool.
there you
Oh,
go. Well, I'm in Texas and
that's a
he's in New
long
York,
drive
so
from
we'd have to
Texas,
go.
brother.
We have
I
to
know,
meet
right?
somewhere in Atlanta, maybe something like that. But
That's a little trip.
right, but actually, straight. If I just go straight east and you go straight south, we'd probably meet in Jacksonville. So it'd
Probably
be
meet.
perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
It'll be perfect. So, So stay tuned. Keep me informed because obviously, if you guys are playing, I might try to get down there and at least get some broadcast type thing going for you guys, and then or maybe we do a behind the scenes thing where we do some locker room and we do some sideline stuff. We'll figure something out because we're still trying to figure out the game day aspect of what we want to do. But definitely appreciate you joining us. There's a question though that we like to
Oh
ask
boy.
our guests. Hanky, would you like to do the honors on this one?
Well, it's kind of tough because he didn't play at semi-pro.
Oh, that's a good point. So,
But hold on. But wait, we'll talk because if you're talking major college football, there's always some shit that happens
yeah,
in the
there's
first couple
got to be,
practices.
right?
So
There's got to be.
here's
I feel
the
like I've been a
question.
part of semi-pro so long, you still can ask me the question.
I'll ask it. You answer it however you want to answer it.
Gotcha.
So we'll talk. We talked rookie years. Rookie years, we always had some sort of brawl to that just set it off for our career, right? Always. So give us whether it's the rookie year, whether it's college, semi-pro, you call it. Give us the fight story that you got.
Woo! I don't. I'm thinking was Ken there that year? Was Ken there with the Spartans that year? Oh man, we were out of practice. It's not an actual.
No, I think I know this story. Devin?
Oh gosh, yeah, that
No,
story.
that was a year before me.
And we're at this practice, and it's a practice before a game. It's super intense. Like we haven't had any contact all season, and I'm like, and I'll blame myself because I'm like, I want to see somebody hit. I'm tired of this. Somebody do something. I haven't seen a tackle all year. We got a game next week, and so this practice ended up being super physical. Like everyone was tackling, flying around. So at the end of practice, everyone's clapping it up, happy. And one guy wasn't clapping. And so since everyone was kind of in the heat of the moment, one of the guys that was well, I guess I could say a captain, he's like, why aren't you clapping? And the other guy says, oh, I don't have to clap. This practice wasn't, shit. It wasn't shit, so I don't have to clap. And, so I'm just kind of like, okay, yeah, I like this. Yeah, everybody's getting hyped. Yeah, talk noise. And then next thing we're praying it out. You got two guys to your right. We're praying, our Father, da 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 da. All right, let's stop this prayer because they're still talking. we look to the right, and the guy just all you see is a fist thrown, boom, and it just went nuts.
Right?
What the guy that got hit, his dad was a coach, right? And he just went nuts. You hit my son, I'll kill you. Oh, he's Jesus. 260 pounds, charging at the guy Devin. And I just fly and tackle him. Boom, no. It was all in slow motion. No. 260 pounds, so I fall. I was like, you can't do it. You're going to go to jail. And I'm holding him down on the ground. And I'm like, Devin, run. And Devin just takes over. And man, that season, man, that was that was that ended up being like a pretty decent season. Those guys kind of it was like that after that whole season. It was kind of like they was kind of edgy. All those guys are on the edge after that, and so
that story's legendary in Jacksonville, by the way, for the team that happened on.
Yeah.
That's a legendary story. So that's how I kind of knew
I didn't go into full detail,
right?
But you get the
but we get it. Yeah, you never go into full detail, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's funny.
We all have them. And listen, at college, I know I got in a fight with the guy that was the guard. I was playing tackle, and he's like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "Yo, what are you?" I'm a 18-year-old kid. Like, who are you talking to right now? So you start going there. I mean, dude, it happens. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It's all love. It's football.
Yep.
That's the fun part of football. I mean, you can kind of be yourself. I tell people all the time. That's why you play football. I try to push kids to play football because, especially a kid like me coming, straight out the hood, that was my time to be me.
Right.
Outside of that, I couldn't be myself.
Right.
Going to school, being in the normal world, I couldn't be myself because who I'm around every day.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't want to see that Craig,
right?
Because I'm raised by pimps and hoes. I didn't want to be, pretty much,
right.
And I didn't want to be that Craig. So let's go play football. and take some of this aggression and anger and this vocabulary that I've developed, this
Yep.
sweet vocabulary that I just developed. Let's go take that somewhere, and I can say what I want, do what I
Hmm.
want. I can actually grab a guy and just have my way with him and
Wow.
not get in
Yeah.
trouble.
Right.
Yep.
So I push people to do it, especially at this level, semi-pro level. It's even better for adults or older guys because I mean we got a lot of pressure as
Hmm.
grown men coming
Hmm.
at you every day, and you just want to grab somebody and choke them or do something, but you can't.
Yep.
And so to play at this level, I mean it's amazing because you
Yeah.
know and that's why you get guys. I mean we played a team, the Gladiators last year. They got a guy on the team. He's 70 years, 60, 70 years old,
Hmm.
but he just want to be out there because he can
Yep.
just he can just do something.
Right.
He can just it's kickoff. He doesn't do anything. He can just run down on kickoff, and that is his life.
Yep. Absolutely.
So this is
Probably doesn't hit his soul either, does he? Just I'm gonna
down
go
here.
down
So he
there.
runs down, but when he's coming off the field, you'll think he just made the tackle.
Yeah, there you go. I
Right.
love it.
But
I love it.
So let's finish on this. This is kind of this has happened to me. It's happened to Vi. Happened to a couple other owners at Ryan that we've had on here. Can you remember a time, or has there been a time yet? And again, you've only been coaching 4 years, so it might not have happened yet, or 3 years, 4 years, that a player or players have come to you and thanked you for your dedication, or even I had one guy tell me, "You've saved my life because if you didn't have this team, I know I'd be in jail or dead."
oh yeah,
Have you ever had that
yeah. I actually got it this past season
for real?
more than ever.
Hmm.
The first you don't get it until I never got it my first couple seasons because guys they don't know. I actually let the guys see what it is like to be a coach.
Hmm.
The financial part of it, just everything that you have to go through, and I let these guys in on that so they can see, hey, this shit is not easy.
Right.
And once they figure that out, once they find out, like coach is grinding right now, he's grinding for us right now. They see it and they're like, it kind of sets an example. And once they see that I'm an example, it helps them in their outside life. Like, I should go out and try to get this job, man. And it ain't that hard
Hmm.
because it's just it opens up everything for these guys, and they actually come back and they say, you know what, I thank you, coach, because I tell them, with our team, I tell them, hey, let's get a resume. I have Jamie get them a resume. Let's type up a resume for them. Let's get it put on Indeed. Let's get yourself out there for jobs. Like I don't want you guys out here playing football if you're not trying to get a job, if you're
Right.
not working.
Mhm.
So guys, they actually get a job that they have, and they've been out of high school for 5, 6 years and never had a job. And
Wow.
then
That's
now you
crazy.
playing for us and you get
Right.
a job. Thank you, coach. Thank you so much. You helped me out a lot.
And
I appreciate you.
and that's the
Awesome.
shit that most people don't see or realize. And one of the things I wanted to do with this podcast was, yeah, I want to talk about semi-pro ball, and I want to talk about some of the funny stories that we've gone through, and see some of my old buddies. But the reality is I want to share stories of what it really goes on behind the scenes, and like you going on, like that's a great thing. I've never done that. Now
Yeah,
I loaned money to players, like when we got robbed in Tennessee on our national championship game. We got robbed,
yeah.
so I had to pay for them to get back. I mean, you do things like that,
Wow.
but you don't, to actually have your girlfriend. And when he said Jamie, he wasn't talking Jamie Hankey. He's talking to his girlfriend,
No, yeah, it wasn't talking about me.
Jamie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
I just
So,
say, hey, Jamie, could you
yeah,
print some resumes off for me?
that's right. So
I got it. Don't
his
worry about it.
girlfriend,
I'll
who
take care
also
of it.
helps run the team, would help, with resumes. So that's fantastic, man. That's more. I mean, that's even more than I've done. I mean, I
Yeah,
open up my wallet because that was usually the easiest thing for me to do at that point. And there's times when they'll call you and just shoot the shit because they need someone to talk to. And there's, when they
yeah,
put their arm around you and they break your balls, that's when you're still part of the team, and they don't
yeah.
they don't put you where not that you want to be untouchable, but they realize you're one of them. You came from them,
Right.
so it's really rewarding for as the owner slash coach, which you're in that position where a lot of guys are either just the owner or the coach. They
Yeah.
don't really want to do both. So I think it's you're doing a great thing for the community, great thing for the players, and so
Thank
we'll let you go on that, buddy. But I appreciate your time today. I know we went a little bit longer
you. Yeah.
normal, but you got a great story. You got a lot of history. And when you guys start playing ball again, I'd really love to get you on here and talk some of your games. Like I said, also maybe come visit and watch a game or two.
Perfect. Yeah, we
All right,
love it. We
all right,
love it.
buddy. I know you got a
All right.
full weekend this weekend, so happy birthday to your daughter. Tell Rico I said congratulations.
Yeah.
And have a great weekend this weekend.
All right.
All right,
Thank you
buddy.
guys. It was
Much
appreciated.
appreciated.
All right, brother.
All right, have
All
a
right.
good
You,
You
one.
man.
all.
See you,
Yep.
buddy. All right, that's awesome again. Craig's a good dude, and he's seen a lot of football in his day at levels that I haven't been to. So D1 program and some arena ball and stuff like that. So it's good to get another story from another city, from yet another owner. I think we've had more owners on here than players now at this point. So
There's
it's
nothing wrong with that, though. I think we'll get through a bunch of other people. That was a good. I like talking to him. He's a good dude.
yeah, absolutely. And to see what Corona's doing, at least on the East Coast, we haven't spread to the West Coast yet, but
Right.
I do have, I know I mentioned to you, but I mentioned to crowd, I do have, we just got a yes from a gentleman in Houston. So,
Mhm.
who I don't know, I just saw him on Facebook, reached out. He's willing to meet with us. This is right up your alley. He's a strong man who's also an offensive lineman. Um,
Nice.
the dude's on video squatting 700 pounds and deadlifting 7 1/4 or 750, something ridiculous like that. So, I figure you and him can have a nice little one-on-one talking some strong man, and obviously we'll hear what's going on in Houston. So we'll see when we can get him on. Like I said, we're pretty booked, but we
Yeah,
may
man.
have a couple openings that pop up here and there, and I might be able to slip him in, before
We'll be
Halloween.
good.
But we'll see what we can do. All right. And buddy, I was going to do this in the opener, but forgot. So it's good to have you
What's that?
back. So I was going to
Yeah.
serenade. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome
You're doing the
back.
cotter. I'm surprised you don't have it on like an old recorder next to you that you're gonna play it on.
Push play.
Yeah, just hit the button, push the button.
Old school style. There you go.
All right, man. Well, listen, brother. Good to be back, and we'll see you next week. All right.
All right, have a good one.